Have you ever questioned whether the sacrifices you make for love are truly worthwhile? In today's story, we follow a 70-year-old man who dared to pursue a connection that reignited a passion he believed was lost. What began as an exhilarating romance quickly morphed into a costly pursuit that challenged his self-worth and dignity. Stay with us as we uncover the powerful lessons he learned about the necessity of balancing true love with self-respect, regardless of age. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please leave a positive review below. If it doesn't resonate, a rating would be appreciated. Your feedback is invaluable in helping me create engaging videos that align with your interests. From the start, his friends expressed doubts, and his children voiced straightforward concerns. Despite this, he felt a persistent whisper of uncertainty about whether he was on the right path. At 70, he still yearned to defy age and expectations, longing for a connection that echoed the excitement and possibilities of his youth. This desire grew into an overwhelming need to reclaim what he thought time had taken from him. What began as cautious steps toward romance quickly escalated into an obsession. He invested his heart and soul into this relationship, believing it to be his last true love, unaware of the costs that awaited him. In the early days, she felt like a breath of fresh air, awakening a strength and vitality he thought had faded. She saw in him a charm he had forgotten, making him feel invincible. He treated her with exceptional care, showering her with affection, gifts, and praise, viewing her as a miraculous presence in his life. Yet, amid this bliss, subtle warnings began to emerge. Initially, her demands were minor, wrapped in the same charm that had captivated him. Eager to please, he accommodated her requests. But they gradually became more pointed and insistent. What he mistook for confidence in her tone slowly revealed a superiority that began to change him. Each adjustment he made to satisfy her distanced him from his own identity, but he believed it was all worth it. Every effort he made brought him closer to her heart, but as the months passed, the warmth faded and she grew distant. Her compassion began to carry a hint of disdain. Though he didn't want to admit it, her comments about his age and its limitations hurt more than he acknowledged. She would smirk and say, "Men your age really should take better care of themselves," treating him like a project in need of fixing. He tried to laugh it off, convincing himself they were just jokes, but as they became more frequent, they dug deeper into his insecurities, eroding the confidence he had painstakingly built. He began to feel like a stranger in his own skin, a man who wasn't young enough to meet her expectations but desperately wanted to hold on to her. The breaking point came when she criticized their closeness, an area he believed was sacred. He thought love encompassed more than physical affection and knew he could offer her warmth and tenderness. But she didn't see it that way. Her criticism struck at his vulnerabilities, calling him slow, predictable, and lacking in passion. Her words pierced him deeply, leaving him feeling insufficient. He tried to reassure her that his age didn't diminish his capacity to love deeply, but her sharp comments only intensified his feelings of inadequacy. Desperate to prove his worth, he reminded her of the unique qualities he could offer that no younger man could, but by then, he was already too far gone. Despite lacking youthful strength, he knew how to bring her pleasure through the gentle intimacy of his words. However, instead of softening her reaction, she laughed dismissively, mocking his vulnerability and stripping his words of their honor. Her mockery felt like salt in a wound, corroding the remnants of his pride. Humiliated, he clung to the hope that this was merely a phase, a test of his resilience and dedication. As days turned into weeks, he convinced himself that if he remained patient and understanding, she would recognize the depth of his commitment. He believed his enduring love would win her over, but with each passing day, her words chipped away at his self-worth, driving him deeper into darkness, where he saw himself as an aging man with little to offer. To outsiders, his decision to stay might seem baffling, even pitiable. Friends who knew his suffering wondered why he continued to endure such pain, allowing himself to be diminished by someone who saw him as disposable. Yet those who have loved deeply understand the strange binding power of love. Despite the pain, he couldn't leave because love had become ingrained in his heart. tied to memories of when she was sweet and he felt alive. He longed for a love that had once been his refuge, but had turned into his worst fear. He realized he was lost in the shadow of someone's approval, an unreachable mirage. In a moment of stark clarity, late one night after a painful confrontation, he knew it was time to let go. Looking in the mirror, he saw a 70-year-old man, his face etched with the lines of life and eyes heavy with stories of joy and sorrow. In that instant, he understood that self-love needed to speak louder, and that he could no longer be diminished by someone who wouldn't accept him for who he truly was. With newfound courage, he decided to confront her calmly. Sitting opposite her, he explained that he loved her but could no longer endure the pain and humiliation. He was ready to walk away, choosing himself over a love that only brought suffering. She looked at him in shock, clearly taken aback, as if she never imagined he would find the strength to leave. In that moment, he felt the first stirrings of his dignity return. Dignity that had been eroded by hurtful words and belittling looks. It was a painful conversation, but also liberating, marking the first time he felt free. He felt he was acting his age, not by surrendering to weakness, but by embracing the wisdom and strength that come with maturity. As he left her home, a profound sense of relief washed over him. A weight he hadn't realized he was carrying suddenly lifted. He reflected on his life, the experiences that shaped him, and the countless memories he held. He recognized his value, understanding that his worth didn't diminish with each wrinkle or gray hair. He realized that not everyone could see true value, especially those focused solely on the superficial. By surrendering to her demands, he had lost his way, but walking away helped him regain his pride and the quiet serenity that comes from a love only he could give himself. Afterward, things were not easy. He could hear the silence as loneliness set in, but this loneliness felt clean and honorable, free from the need to prove himself to someone who would never understand. He began to find comfort in his own company, realizing he was still whole, a man with history and value. This experience taught him that real love isn't based on youth or physical attraction, but on respect, kindness, and appreciation that endure through all ages. Each line on his face told the story of a life well lived. Months later, he discovered that life still held surprises for him even after the breakup. Joy returned as he reconnected with friends he hadn't seen in years, friends who loved him just as he was. He traveled to places he had only dreamed of visiting and rekindled interests he had long put on hold. He embraced hobbies that brought him happiness, like painting and reading. As the days passed, he realized his worth wasn't based on the approval of a younger woman, but on the peace he found within himself. He accepted that aging was a gift, providing him the wisdom to recognize what truly matters. Each line on his face and each silver strand of hair became a testament to the life he built, filled with struggles and triumphs. For older people grappling with similar questions, his journey offers a gentle lesson about what's important. Everyone values love, but pursuing it should never compromise inner peace. Time teaches that some lessons can only be learned through experience, and we must guard the treasure of respect. He reflected on his relationship with her, profound and painful, yet ultimately necessary for his growth. He learned that he needed to love himself completely, flaws and all, before he could truly accept love. Leaving her didn't just mark the end of a relationship, it meant reclaiming himself and prioritizing his own heart over the endless pursuit of approval from others. His story exemplifies that self-love is not a luxury but a necessity, even when the world seems against us. This journey of rediscovery is one that only the elderly might fully understand. They know that a person's value isn't measured by vitality, but by how gracefully they handle life's challenges. Every wrinkle transforms into a symbol of honor, and each gray hair signifies the wisdom accumulated over the years. His journey teaches us that dignity is priceless, and true strength comes from having the courage to leave behind what weakens us and choose peace. Lesson 1. The myth of young love. The allure of youth can be tempting, but it's essential to stay grounded and not believe that being with a younger person will make us feel better or happier. Many young people, like the character, spend time seeking approval from someone who doesn't truly see their worth. The need to prove our strength can trap us, leading to the tolerance of disrespect we would never accept elsewhere. Love should be a place of comfort, respect, and reciprocity, not a means of proving ourselves. The desire for adventure should never overshadow the need for a deep, meaningful relationship with someone who values our true selves. It is crucial to love yourself,